Hello, English learners. Let's delve deeper into eloquence and critical thinking with 50 more profound, witty, and insightful quotes from Dr. Sashi. Listen attentively, repeat each one aloud to practice pronunciation and fluency, and reflect on their depth. These come from his books, speeches, and writings, perfect for enriching your vocabulary and perspective. Let's continue. On India and Identity. 1. India is not, as people keep calling it, an underdeveloped country, but rather, in the context of its history and cultural heritage, a highly developed one in an advanced state of decay. 2. India shaped my mind, anchored my identity, influenced my beliefs, and made me who I am. India matters to me, and I would like to matter to India. 3. In India, we celebrate the commonality of major differences. We are a land of belonging rather than of blood. 4. The only possible idea of India is that of a nation greater than the sum of its parts. 5. If America is a melting pot, then to me, India is a thali, a selection of sumptuous dishes in different bowls. Each tastes different and does not necessarily mix with the next, but they belong together on the same plate. 6. India has been born and reborn scores of times, and it will be reborn again. India is forever, and India is forever being made. 7. There is not a thing as the wrong place or the wrong time. We are where we are at the only time we have. Perhaps it's where we're meant to be. 8. Everything is recycled in India, even dreams. 9. I make no bones about the fact that India matters to me, and I would like to matter to India. 10. India is more than a sum of its contradictions. Any truism about India can be contradicted with another truism. On colonialism and history. 11. The sun never set on the British Empire. An Indian nationalist later sardonically commented, because even God couldn't trust the Englishman in the dark. 12. Indians paid, in other words, for the privilege of being conquered by the British. 13. The British are the only people in history crass enough to have made revolutionaries out of Americans. 14. Rabindranath Tagore put it gently to a Western audience in New York in 1930, "A great portion of the world suffers from your civilization." Mahatma Gandhi was blunter. Asked what he thought of Western civilization, he replied, "It would be a good idea." 15. When we kill people, we feel compelled to pretend that it is for some higher cause. It is this pretense of virtue, I promise you, that will never be forgiven by history. 16. Bombs and bullets alone cannot destroy India, because Indians will pick their way through the rebel and carry on as they have done throughout history. 17. The past is not necessarily a guide to the future, but it does partly help explain the present. 18. India's share of the world economy was 23% when the British arrived. By the time they left, it was down to below 4%. 19. Britain's rise for 200 years was financed by its depredations in India. 20. We paid for our own oppression. On wisdom and philosophy. 21. A philosopher is a lover of wisdom, not of knowledge, which for all its great uses ultimately suffers from the crippling effect of ephemerality. All knowledge is transient, linked to the world around it, and subject to change as the world changes, whereas wisdom, true wisdom, is eternal, immutable. 22. Why does man need bread? To survive. But why survive if it is only to eat more bread? To live is more than just to sustain life. It is to enrich and be enriched by life. 23. If you believe in truth and cared enough to obtain it, you had to be prepared actively to suffer for it. 24. Great discoveries are often the result of making the wrong mistake at the right time. 25. All knowledge is transient, linked to the world around it, and subject to change as the world changes. 26. The Mahabharata declares, "What is here is nowhere else. What is not here is nowhere." 27. On Gandhi, don't ever forget that we were not led by a saint with his head in clouds, but by a master tactician with his feet on the ground. 28. Hindu fundamentalism is a contradiction in terms. Since Hinduism is a religion with fundamentals, there is no such thing as a Hindu heresy. 29. Western dictionaries define secularism as absence of religion, but Indian secularism does not mean irreligiousness. It means profusion of religions. 30. Freedom of the press is the mortar that binds together the bricks of democracy, and it is also the open window embedded in those bricks. Witty and observational. 31. They say every dog has its day Ganapati, but for this terrier, twilight came before tea time. 32. Diplomacy is much like the elephant's lovemaking, which is accompanied with a lot of bellowing and other sound effects, but no one can be sure of the consequences for at least the next 2 years. 33. It's not the side of the bigger army that wins, it's the country that tells a better story. 34. No one says gee whiz very much these days, of course, not even in America, both because that expression has long since been supplanted by others more colorful and less printable. 35. How dare a bunch of Gondas shrink the soaring majesty of the Vedas and the Upanishads to the petty bigotry of their brand of identity politics? 36. The joke is that 1 Bengali is a poet, 2 Bengalis is an argument, 3 Bengalis is a political party. 37. While he was alive, he was impossible to ignore. Once he had gone, he was impossible to imitate. 38. It was not just the Maharajas who had to suffer. Every Indian schoolchild must lament the influence of the British dress code on Indians, especially the tie as a permanent noose around the necks of millions. 39. Alex von Tunzelmann's clever start. In the beginning there were 2 nations. One was a vast, mighty, and magnificent empire. The first nation was India. The second was England. 40. What economic liberalization needs, if it is to succeed, is a general acceptance that reforms are for the general good. On global affairs and society. 41. Resolutions aren't self-executing. Somebody has to provide the soldiers, take the risks, risk their blood and their treasure to go out and implement such a resolution. 42. Terrorism is a principal preoccupation in most of our international contacts. 43. This is the one international institution we have, in which governments get together to work collectively for a common purpose. 44. The good terrorists are the guys who bomb and kill Indians. The bad terrorists are the ones who attack Pakistani interests. 45. I'm not a techno-determinist. I believe we need to improve our existing human resources, and technology can only be a complement. 46. India is my country, and in that sense my outrage is personal. 47. I do not look to history to absolve my country of the need to do things right today. 48. One cannot take revenge upon history. History is its own revenge. 49. The world will for the foreseeable future need peacekeeping. 50. India is forever being made. These quotes showcase the Rue's mastery of language, history, and humor. Use them to inspire your own expressions. Which one resonates with you most?